months, we have waivers to clinically study anesthetics that begin to work on contact with targeted relief and no scent. Solid parts. It's good medicine.
Welcome to the FINA Swimming World Cup and Toronto, Canada. This is the morning session of Day 2 at Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre. Hello, swimming fans. My name is Callum Ing alongside Canadian Paralympian Sarah Mayotte. And it's weekend swimming as we turn the page from an exciting first day here at TPASC, as they call it. And listen, today, Sarah, it's a new set of events to enjoy. You can take a breath, different distances, different strokes, but the excitement is still here at the pool.
Absolutely. So this morning we're going to see our first time final. So we have the slowest heat in the morning, and then in the evening during finals we're going to have the fastest heat. So we have the 400 IM, the women's 400 IM and the women's 1500 free, and we also have the 100 back, which is not a time final but should be very, very exciting, because as we saw yesterday in the 50, we have very, very strong swimmers for the women's backstroke. So it should be another very exciting race this morning.
There is no question we have the same stars that we had yesterday. They're still here in Canada. Katie Ledecky, Summer McIntosh headlining a fantastic race yesterday in the 400-meter freestyle, swimming under the former world record. Of course, have to sort out what the world record is, of course, in that event now. But Ariarne Titmus of Australia has her name this week removed from the record books by a number of swimmers with some fantastic races there. But as we look forward to today, it is definitely the opportunity for these swimmers to settle into the meet. And as you kind of turn the page to a Saturday, I think as an athlete, for you and your experience, you kind of feel like, hey, we're here now, we're settled, it's Saturday, let's race.
Oh yeah, day one is behind them, so now they they found their marks and they know where they're at. They know what they had to work on yesterday to make sure they were in top shape this morning. And they're also getting excited because there's only like 2 days left. And I feel like the closer you are to the end of the meet, the more excited you are, because as much fun as it is swimming in a meet, you're also very happy when it's done, because it's very exhausting to be there on the pool deck and swimming multiple swims a day.
So first up here we have the women's 400 individual medley. This is heat 1 of 2 this morning. There will be a heat in this event this evening. Naturally, though, we're going to start with 2 of the what they call slower heats, 3 swimmers in them. Getting set for this one in lane 3, Hamida Rania Nefsi. In lane 4, Angela Jiaqian Wang, club swimmer from Canada. Abigail Baller in lane number 5, also a domestic Canadian.
So it's important to know that whatever swimmers do this morning doesn't mean anything for the ranking tonight, because, well, if they do really well, they're gonna have a good ranking for tonight. But we won't know the final ranking until the final heat swims it tonight during the final.
That is correct. You put the top 8 swimmers to the final so they get the lights and crowd of the evening. But that doesn't mean that this doesn't mean anything. These swimmers, of course, can access that top 8, the podium, if they had the swim of their lives here. And we get to the 50 wall, and Nefsi 31.54, touching and turning first. This is the 400 individual medley, 16 lengths of the pool. And that means 4 of each stroke. One of the most grueling events in swimming, I think, personally.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's tough. I think the 1,500 meter freestylers and the 800 freestylers, maybe they have an argument on that front, but this event is tough. It takes your whole body.
I was a distance swimmer. Yeah. I was very good at the 1,500, and I still think that the 400 IM is harder than the 1,500.
Okay, so there you go. Validation for the distance swimmer, the Paralympian. We should record that, and then that will fit in the debate between these events. I know one exists among swimmers, but certainly, yeah, the 400 IM is tough. I mean, it's a whole body, 100 meters of each stroke, and it just takes everything out of you, which is why it's a very respected event in swimming, or a very avoided one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, as much as we said yesterday, the 100 IM is a fun event. You get to switch style every 25 meters. The 400, like 100 fly by itself is already hard, and then you have to do the 100 back, and then you get to the breaststroke, and you're already dying, but you still have half of the race to go. So it's very, very, very hard, and by the time you get to the freestyle, you just give everything you have left, whatever's left, usually not much, but you really try to give it your all and just hope for the best.
So your leader at the moment in lane 3 is Nefsi. Going to turn and head to the breaststroke here halfway through. This is where the oxygen begins to deplete. The legs start to fall away, at least in the second half of this breaststroke.
That you need such strong legs to have a good breaststroke. So by this point, you really need to make sure that you have enough legs left to have a good breaststroke. But the butterfly, starting with the butterfly, it takes a lot out of you too. So yeah, I'm not sure how they do it, but they're very impressive. They're still looking good. Like, look at them go. And in lane 3, she's still looking strong and in control.
She turns to the second half of the breaststroke part of this 400 IM. Nefsi 18th in the 200 meter breaststroke in this competition. Would have been yesterday naturally, and so she has that ability to pull away from the rest of the field. That is what she is doing right now. Heading back down the pool for one more length of breaststroke, and that final turn, swimmers will say to the breaststroke here, this is where it really sets in that you're in a world of hurt, and at this point not sure if the next 4 lengths of freestyle, how they're going to go. And you can see her cadence slowing slightly as she heads to the freestyle. Big breath under the flags there, so the oxygen depletes, and here she goes, breathing to her right, trying to just fight her way down the pool. Two Canadians behind her quite a distance, so this is a race against herself, Nefsi, as she hits the first turn in the freestyle. Heading under for the approach to the final 50, your race-long leader, Hamida Rania Nefsi, turning 4:15.97 to head back down the pool.
She had no entry time for this meet, but her personal best is from 2018, 4:48.12. So I think it's within reach, unless she has a really slow last 25, but she's still looking pretty good.
Pretty good closing effort here on the kick for Nefsi as she continues to breathe to her right. See if she buries her head into the wall. She does, and touches with the right hand in a time of 4:49.10 to win heat number 1. Good distance under 5 minutes. Abigail Baller in lane number 5, 4:56.57 to touch second. Club swimmer from Canada and in the middle of the pool, Angela Jiachan Wang, 5:09.22 to finish third. But Nefsi, your faraway leader in that race, an international entry, so is able to make her way through that and have to race herself, really. That will set up heat number 2, but before that, heat 1. Results on the board. Move to heat number 2 here. A few more international entries. A lot of domestics from Canada, but Lexi Harrison is in lane number 4 of Australia. So a few more swimmers in this heat. Harrison is in lane number 4. Taylor McCoy of the United States is in lane number 6. Simone Barbeau, club swimmer from Canada, is in lane number 5. She represents Neptune Natation in Quebec. Head toward the 75-meter wall here. Pretty far and away lead from the swimmer in lane number 4.
This early on, it doesn't mean anything yet, because we don't know. Maybe she's bad at breaststroke and everybody's going to catch up. I don't think so, though.
Pretty far and away lead for center of the pool. Moving back the other way now in the backstroke. This is, again, similar to our previous race where you have a leader right at the front in lane 4. It's Lexi Harrison of Australia. She heads to the second half of the backstroke, carries on. What happens when you're in a race like this where maybe you're this far in front? How do you find the motivation? I mean, it's there, of course, it's intrinsic, but how do you find sort of this deep race within yourself when you're ahead of the field by 5, 6, 7 meters?
It really has to do with how experienced you are, because I feel like when you're a younger swimmer, less experienced swimmer, you rely a lot on the other ones next to you to push yourself. As you get more experience, you're able to push yourself without relying on others. But it's very hard. You have to have the good conditions, make sure everything goes right to be able to find that within yourself. It's very hard I feel like the best races are always whenever you have someone challenging you next to you, like we saw last night with Ledecky and McIntosh, for example. So for this one, it's hard, and she won't have a chance to swim it again tonight because this is a time final. So tonight we have the fastest entry times, but the fastest from this morning are not going to be swimming it again. So it's her only chance to swim fast this weekend in this event. So yeah, you really have to dig deep and give it your all and hope it's good enough.
So Harrison still in the lead, though, in lane 6. Taylor McCoy of the United States starting to move on the breaststroke. Began that at the beginning of the breaststroke, trying to catch up a little bit and make it a race in the freestyle. Harrison, 6 events in Berlin, had 5 personal bests. McCoy, meantime, from Pullman, Washington, United States. She's in lane 6 and heading to the freestyle. 3:38.93 for Harrison with 100 meters to go. She's got a very strong, or a very good distance, I should say, ahead of McCoy, and so it would be a big lift for the American to catch up here with 75 meters left, and it looks like there is some gas left in the tank for Harrison in lane number 4 as she continues to move kind of at the same pace as McCoy over there in lane number 6, who does have a bit of jump here at the end. She's got good cadence on the stroke, but Harrison is going to match her with the energy level at the end of this race. So your race-long leader, Australia's Lexi Harrison. 25 meters left to go. Big last turn, couple of dolphin kicks, and she continues her pace here in the second heat of the 400 IM this morning for women. And it will be Australia's Lexi Harrison under the flags and into the wall, 4:45.50 to swim the fastest time of the morning so far in that race. McCoy second over in lane 6, a time of 4:48.43. Also faster than Hamida Rania-Nefsi from heat number 1. So those two post their times, and we'll see how they stand up tonight against the faster heats of the 400 IM. That was a solid effort from start to finish, really against herself there, and just had to dig deep and try to get to the wall. And then McCoy was chasing from the beginning. Turns in a solid swim to post her time and see how it stands tonight. So now we move along to the next event after you see here the results of that previous heat on the board. So we go from the 400 IM to the 2 lengths of the pool, 50-meter backstroke.
Much shorter, much more fun, in my opinion, too. I feel like the 50 back is a fun event. You go all out, give it your all, and 2 lengths, you can barely feel it, and you're already done. So it's a fun event.
Justin Ress of the United States is in the center of the pool here. So he gets lane number 4. Hops in, start from the water for backstroke. Tomas Franta in 5 from the Czech Republic. And in 3, Shi Yu Lao, Hong Kong, China. Just 2 lengths here. Lots of underwater from these swimmers as they pop up before 15 and carry on. The number of strokes toward the wall and make the turn. It's tight in the middle of the pool there. Franta 11.39 at the wall, just 4/100ths ahead of Ress. And then another big wall from Franta will give himself a gap heading into the touch. It's close. 23:42 in the end for Justin Ress of the United States, as he got him at the touch. Really heavy, good dolphin kick into the wall there to get ahead of Franta, who was in lane 5 and the leader, it looked like, under the flags. Great effort for Ress as he goes under there and You definitely saw he was building a little, and it was just a matter of timing, maybe some height. Got his fingers on the wall there. That was a really good finish for him at 23:42.
Oh yeah, like 200 of a second. That was a fantastic touch.
Just 2 100s ahead of Tomas Franta of the Czech Republic. So we move to heat number 2. Kasper Stokowski qualified for the 200 back first from yesterday morning. He's in the center of the pool from Poland. Javi Acevedo of Canada is in this one in lane number 5. Always interesting seeing the swimmers, their manner of jumping into the pool. Acevedo, you can see, just kind of hopped in. Stokowski saying, I'm going to do a little bit more here, make you guys wait for me to set up.
Power move.
Yeah. Underway with heat 2 of the men's 50-meter backstroke. Stokowski popping up first with the lead, moving right in the center of his lane. Quick turn there, 11.42 at the wall. And another deep underwater kick out, and he comes back up. He's got a solid lead. Acevedo of Canada on his hip, but the pole turns and hits the wall at 23.30, which is slightly faster than rest in the previous heat. And a nice swim from start to finish by Poland's Kasper Stokowski, as he takes a look at that and clears over Javi Acevedo of Canada, 24.01 to touch second, and then 24.77 for Puerto Rico's Yeziel Morales to finish third in that one.
And also a little slower time, but in one of the outside lane, in lane 0, we have a swimmer for Palestine who just completely destroyed the national record for that event. It was 27.9, and he just did 25.7.
Yazan Al-Bawab, you spoke to him before the session, and he said, hey, Sarah, I'm going to break a record.
He wanted me to mention it, so
did it.
Here I did it, Yazan.
Heat 3 here coming up. Coleman Stewart of the United States in the center of the pool. Dylan Carter from Trinidad is in lane number 3 for this one. Got a blazing 53 yesterday. Heat 3, underwater in the 50-meter backstroke for men. We're up in the middle, got a tight race. Lanes 3, 4, and 5. It's going to get the feet on the wall first. It's Takeshi Kawamoto of Japan, 11.51 at the turn. Everybody pretty even on the way up. Lane 4, Coleman Stewart looking to move in and win the heat, 23.35. From the United States, Kawamoto touching second, 23.57, and then third, Dylan Carter, freestyle ace, 23.80. So a bunch of guys well under 24 seconds.
That was a fantastic second underwater for Coleman Stewart. That's where he got his little tiny bit of lead. It was all underwater. He went like until just before the 15-meter mark. Fantastic underwater.
So Stewart, 23.35. I believe will stand as the second fastest swim of the morning, although winning his heat. And there's Poland Stokowski, 23.30. Stewart second. Russ, I should say, from the United States, the third fastest qualifying time. So some quick swimming there, and we move on to another quote-unquote sprint in swimming.
Yeah, a long sprint.
Longer sprint, 200 freestyle. I think short course, though, you could make the case for it. And we have the great Katie Ledecky in lane number 4 for this one in a heat 1. But it's a World Cup, so there are fewer heats. So here she goes, the center of the pool. 200 freestyle, 8 lengths of the pool. So you'll see swimmers begin this one with some speed and then just try to hold on to it.
I think it's the only way to swim a 200 because you can't really set it to a slower pace because it's not a distance event, but you can't really go all out either because it's 200, so it's too long to go all out. So you go fast and hope for the best. That's how I always swam it.
And right now, Ella Christina Jansen of Canada in lane 2, turning first, but pretty even across the center of the pool there. Ledecky now in front, trying to establish herself in this race as she heads to the halfway point. Ledecky part of a fantastic race in the 400 freestyle yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was an amazing race.
Ledecky 56.70 at the 100 wall, edged by Canada's Summer McIntosh, both of them under the former world record. However, China's Li Bingji broke the 400 free record on Thursday, and so that put a little bit of a wrench in the mix there, as those 2 times though from yesterday also excellent and under the former world record by Ariarne Titmus of Australia. And so Ledecky feeling that kind of world record vibe running through her body. She heads to the wall, 126.04 at the 150 turn. Really good challenge though from early leader Ella Christina Jansen of Canada. But Ledecky starting this one strong, and she's got 25 meters left to get herself to the wall and just try to take this heat down. So 5 meters left for the great American, and she will turn in a time of 155.52.
That's actually a very good time, pretty close to her personal best from 2019, which is 153. So I think we can expect her to try to go for a new personal best tonight.
Ledecky naturally known for the longer distance freestyle, 400, of course 800, 1500, but definitely dips down to the 200 and shows that she's got it. Wins that heat quite handily.
And Ella Jansen, 3 seconds under her entry time. Not sure when that time is from, but that was a good race too.
It was. A lot of confidence to go out ahead of someone like Ledecky to say, I'm just going to race you the way I race you. So that sets up heat number 2. Meg Harris, one of 2 Australians in the center of the pool. She's in 3. Madison Wilson, an Olympian from 2016 and 2020, is in lane number 4. Heat 2 now in the water. Canada's Marie-Sophie Harvey is in lane number 5. Pretty decent crowd here for a Saturday morning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We don't
Very
usually
healthy.
see that many people for a morning swim.
Very, very healthy crowd. Of course, Toronto, Canada, very populous area of Canada, so lots of swimming families and fans made their way out. Meg Harris turns at the 50 wall, 27.20. This one will have, I think, more of a race based on the entry times, as Wilson's 152.55 being the entry time for her in the center of the pool is quite quick, and she is showing that now here. She heads in to try and get her feet on the wall first at the halfway point. It's going to be close, though. You've got Harris, 57.08, and her teammate Wilson, 57.12 at the opening turn. Good wall there from Wilson to try to pull away from her teammate.
It looks like she's doing a pretty good job at it. At every wall, she's able to get a little bit more ahead.
Now this is a big third 50 from the Australian, as she just wrestles this thing away from her teammate. She turns 126 flat. That is double zeros, and she's just going to charge down the pool. That was a really nice start. Calm first 100, and literally sprinting the second half here. I wonder if that's some sort of strategy with her coach to see what she can do here. Try to pick up the negative split.
Oh yeah, it's working. Look at her go. Look at her kick. So strong still.
Into the wall, 154.32
Wow.
for Madison Wilson. Very even race there. Second spot, 157.82 to Marie-Sophie Harvey of Canada, 159.02 for Meg Harris on the board. But Wilson did a really nice job there. Took that thing out in 57 low and then rocketed back to get herself to 154.32.
That's a fantastic split. Really well done.
And you could visibly see it too in the race, where she was very calm at the beginning and then turned on the jets.
Oh yeah.
What a skill set and the confidence to do something like that. But post a time, and that will put the pressure on heat number 3 here. Siobhan Haughey in the center of the pool from Hong Kong. Headlining this one as they head into the water. Katerine Savard in lane 5 of Canada. Swam the 200-meter butterfly. Emma O'Croynan is in lane 3, a club swimmer from Canada. Savard won the bronze in the 200 fly yesterday. Bronze in the 400 free for Haughey in the center of the pool. Olympic medalist from Tokyo. 2 silvers, 100 free, 200 free. And she turns at the 50-meter mark here, 27.17 to take the lead. We've seen some interesting strategies unfold in these early heats. And over in lane number 7, Kelly Pash is making a case for this as well. She's putting early pressure on Haughey, who will turn halfway, 56.47. Trying to hang on to this lead. We saw, though, in the last heat what the second 100 brought. So we'll see if there's a lead change. Haughey at the 125-meter wall, 111.31. She's breathing to her right, so she sees Pash over there. And let's see if Pash can make this a race. In lane 7, she get a good turn away maybe, but here comes Haughey right in the center of the pool. She began this race with the lead. She heads toward the final wall. 141.39 at that wall. Just a few tenths ahead of Pash, but Pash starting to move a little bit here, and this one could be kind of even coming down the stretch as Haughey starts to tighten up, shorten up. But she has just enough to get into the wall. 156.15 for Siobhan Haughey from Hong Kong, and 156.28 for Kelly Pash in lane number 7. Having to do it on her own over there, and Haughey taking a look. Must have seen Pash at some point to just try to get her to finish there, but her stroke was shortening up at the end. Pash really built that race nicely, and I think, the 200, obviously, Katerine Savard there, turning it in, a good effort. But, the strategy is crucial in that event, considering it's so close to just a full sprint from start to finish, but Haughey winning heat number 3.
Oh yeah, as you said, you could see Pash building up nicely, but Haughey, I think she might have been a little nervous seeing Pash almost passing her in the end, so that might be why she started tightening up. The nerves got to her, but still a very decent swim, very decent morning swim, and they're gonna do it again tonight.
Madison Wilson kind of pushed in her heat, will be the fastest seed for tonight as we turn the page to the 200 individual medley for men. Great Ryan Lochte, the world record holder in this event. He could swim short course. But we'll start with one of 4 heats in this one. Plenty of Canadian entries in this field. Hossein Fedag from Canada in the center of the pool. Aidan Norman in 5. Matthew Sergianis is in 3. He represents the University of Regina. Fedag from Camo, which is a team in Montreal. Norman from the University of Calgary Swim Club.
We also have worth mentioning in lane 7, Nicholas Bennett, who's a para swimmer. He was a member of the para national team this summer at Worlds and Commonwealth Games. He won a silver medal in this event in the S14 category in Madeira in June. So yeah, para swimmer, still fast enough to swim in a World Cup for non-para. So absolutely fantastic swimmer.
Definitely something that should be noted as he gets his hand on the wall third at the halfway point, 59.70 or 62. Great out for him as he heads to the breaststroke, but lane number 5, Aidan Norman leading the way from Calgary as he heads to the second length of the breaststroke.
Very strong breaststroke from Bennett.
Bennett has, you're right, really pushed this pace in nice fashion, and he's gonna touch and turn second to Norman, who's 134.44 at the wall, and head into the freestyle. Norman breathing to his left, and now the right. Check both sides of the pool, hit the final turn. Bennett pursuing him, but in the middle, it's Norman in lane number 5, turning on the jets to try and get to the wall and win this heat. And he led throughout, 2:02.73 for the University of Calgary Swim Club swimmer. To round out the first heat. Bennett of note, third, 2:05.25, and Parker Lenoche, 2:04.45. Nice finish for him out of lane 2, but there's your winner from Calgary. So heat 1 done. Again, lots of club swimmers part of this competition. You'll see the CLB indicating that. Canadian flag next to them. Their domestic entries have entered in order to fill out the competition, give these young swimmers an opportunity to step up and race some of the best in the world, including some of the swimmers in the next heat. Finley Knox of Team Canada is in lane number 4. Trenton Julian is in lane 3. Seao Pamputis of Brazil is in lane number 5. This is heat 2. .202, the fastest time from the previous heat. You will see the faster time in this heat, almost certainly. 1:52.32, the entry time for Knox. He was 17th in the 200 IM in Tokyo for Canada. And now a touch and a turn at the 50 wall. Knox has it, 24.48. But very close to him in lane 3, Trenton Julian. Julian had a bronze in the 100 fly yesterday. We saw that kind of butterfly speed.
Really going stroke for stroke there in the middle of the pool with Knox and Trenton.
And we get to the halfway point, 53.23 for Knox. He got his fingers on the wall, first at the 51st at the 100, but the great equalizer of the individual medley breaststroke underway now. Two men almost simultaneously touching the 125 wall there. Just 12 100s separating them. As Trenton Julian in lane number 3 of the United States has taken the lead, 126.60, with Knox behind him. But that was an excellent 50 of breaststroke for the American. And now it's the Canadian to chase. Julian again at the wall, ahead. He's got about 6/10 as he built this really well, and the American will take heat number 2 here with a good finish as he lopes in that left arm, 154.34 the time. Knox finishing second, 155.07. And then third, Seo Pampouris, 155.69. So really nice use of the third 50 there for Julian. Definitely something that medley swimmers work on. They almost all swim the 100 or 200 breaststroke just to train for it and have that as an ability.
Okay, this is, as I said yesterday, in the 100 IM, the breaststroke is where you make it or break it.
There is no doubt it's one of the areas that you can pull it together, but that was what Julian did there to win heat number 2. So heat number 3 follows. 4 heats of this in total. Alberto Rezzetti of Italy swam in Berlin as well. He's in lane number 4. Rolling through the heats here on a Saturday morning in Toronto. Kieran Smith of the United States is in lane number 3.
Won the silver medal in the 400 free last night.
That's right. Hubert Koss of Hungary is in lane number 5. But here's a quick start from Shane Cassis, who won gold in the 100 and 200 back in Berlin, won the 200-meter backstroke yesterday. And so this is good. He got himself in front, and the confidence swim for him now as he hits the second 50 of backstroke to try and establish an even bigger lead on the other men in this field. Great underwater there from Cassis in lane number 6. And he leans in with a slower turn there as he hit to the breaststroke. 53.22.4. Kieran Smith, his teammate, touching second at the 100-meter wall. But now Cassis in the breaststroke. Big underwater pull there, and he is launching himself forward in this heat, trying to get to the freestyle with a very healthy lead. In the center of the pool, you've got 3, 4, and 5 relatively close together, but it is Cassis, 125.09 at the 150 wall. This race is his to lose for sure, unless he ties up significantly. He's got this third heat in his pocket. His very commanding swim here so far from the American. World's medalist as well. So he has really shown that kind of pedigree as he comes under the flags and will just reach in for a time of 154.23 to win heat number 3. Got chased a little there by Kieran Smith of the United States, 155.07 for the second spot, and then Rezzetti from Italy, 155.65 to touch third. But Cassis trying to judge Sarah. You always look. How tired is he?
Very.
How's he doing? Was that, how hard was that? Trying to judge what's it going to be like tonight? Who's going to win the race? And it's what we're all looking forward to, setting up the finals for tonight. But
I think it was a solid effort from everyone in Cassis. His strategy was just taking the lead early on and to make sure that he could keep it in the second 100 and the last 50 of the race. No matter what happened, he was so far ahead that nobody could catch up to him.
Except maybe these fellows here. Matthew Sates in lane number 4, trying to throw down a time. Sates, bronze in the 100 IM. Leonardo Cuejo Santos is in 5 from Brazil. Heat 4 of 4 in the water. Danish Rapsis from Lithuania is in lane number 3. The bronze medalist in this event from Berlin. Heat 4 typically, if it's the last heat anyway, in lane 4 will have the fastest entry time of the competition. That is Sates, 150.145. And he turns in the center of the pool, 24.52 after the butterfly with the lead. This one a little tighter than Heat 3. Still Sates in the middle of the pool. with the lead. Big S on his cap as he heads under the flags and switches over to the breaststroke. 53.44 for Sates, 53.62 for Cuejo Santos from Brazil, who's very close behind Sates.
Both Sates and Casas were on the podium last night for the 100 IM, so I feel like we might see them both again on the podium tonight for the 200. Both very solid swim.
And they're both cruising along here in Heat 4. Sates heading to the freestyle, 126.76 with the lead. Good turn there for him as he got himself a body length almost out of nothing. Increased his gap on the rest of the field, 141.07, 25 meters left to go. And it's Danish Rapsis in lane 3, kind of trying to push into the second spot here, but it will be South Africa's Matthew Sates, 154.27 to win heat number 4. Rapsis from Lithuania, 155.29. The nice freestyle finish there, and then Leonardo Cuejo Santos from Brazil, 155.42 for third. But Sates, nice little morning swim for him. Big S on the cap, as we mentioned. It's a good energy. Santos as well tried to go with him, just couldn't hang in the breaststroke, and then ran out of gas on that turnover to the freestyle. And Sates over a second ahead of the rest of the field in that fourth heat. And that definitely establishes him as one of the swimmers to beat. Cassis, though, with a, I think, more energetic morning swim, perhaps, gets himself as the top seed going into tonight's final. So that will be, no doubt, exciting as you see the rest of the field laid out there. And so we've got the 200 IM in the books and the women's 100-meter backstroke up next.
I think this is the race to watch this morning. We have so many strong women in backstroke, and you just look at the entry times. We have so many that are like swimming 55, 56 lows. It should be a very tight race this morning and tonight.
4 heats of this 100-meter backstroke. This is heat number 1. Heat number 1 of the women's 100-meter backstroke. In the water, 4 lengths of the pool. And getting to the bulkhead in the middle first, 14.40 for Samia Tariq Ahmed Mohsen of Egypt. She's got a good start to this one and will turn at the 50 wall, 29.68. Victoria Raymond, domestic entry, swims for Etobicoke here in Canada. Actually not too far from our pool here down the highway. A decent length, let's be honest, but could be considered local here as she's pursuing Egypt's Mohsen 45.75 at the 75 wall. And Raymond in 4 trying to charge on the Egyptian. Lexi Harrison down in 2 of Australia.
Where did she come from?
Tried to make it close on the outside there, but 101.61 for Mohsen of Egypt to win heat number 1. She got out first and finished it. And the thing is, I think in a short course pool here with those turns, there is some wisdom to going with the strategy of getting out ahead of the field, and that was the strategy for Mohsen there. So Harrison on the outside, good finish, 101.70. Victoria Raymond, 102.06. To round out the top 3 there. Heat 2 coming up here.
This is where we started seeing the big names coming out with Maggie McNeil in lane number 5.
Got McNeil in 4, Kira Toussaint from the Netherlands. So Toussaint, the fastest entry, 55.42. Puts her in lane 4 here. And Maggie McNeil, the world record holder in the 50-meter backstroke. She's got the speed and displays at 13.23, first at the 25-meter wall. McNeil uses the underwater dolphin kick masterfully, and that has such a big impact on the hunter back. 27.37.
That was a fast turn from McNeil.
Yeah, she is out after it in this one. As McNeil getting to the 75-meter wall and turning 42.06. She's well ahead of the field, but Toussaint really good underwater there to kind of fight back and try to draw even and finish really nicely here for the Dutch swimmer at the wall. 56.58 for a very strong final length from Kira Toussaint. Former world record holder in the 50 backs. She got the speed as well and showed that she has the finish to go with that. 56.79 for Maggie McNeil of Canada. 58.79 for Stephanie Au of Hong Kong. And that was a 2-swimmer race though, and look at this finish. They're going almost stroke for stroke. Toussaint though just timed it a little better and has maybe a bit of reach on McNeil to get to the wall, despite McNeil's stroke rate at the end there. Got her by over 2/10.
That's, in the last 25, that's a lot.
It is, and certainly, especially coming from behind like that. So now we move along to heat number 3. Kylie Moss of Canada is in 4. Beta Nelson in 5. Marie-Sophie Harvey is in 3.
We also have McIntosh in lane 1, and I feel like we don't see her swimming backstroke pretty often, but yet again, what can she do?
That is correct. She's doing everything so far at this meet. But it's the Canadian in 4 and 3. Should say Canadians, and then Beta Nelson is in lane number 5 and heading toward the 50 wall. It is, or looks to be anyway, Nelson, but Moss is there as well, and Nelson 27.44 turning first. Silver in the 100 IM for Nelson. And so the 4-length race is something she has podium pedigree for, and 42.16 to get herself in front. And then we will head toward the flags as it's Moss and Nelson going stroke for stroke. Close finish. And it is Kylie Moss of Canada, 56.80 at the wall.
What a last 25 from Moss. It was pretty much like we saw in the previous heat with Toussaint. It was a very, very strong last length.
Beta Nelson, 57.02. Summer McIntosh, 58.11, tying Marie-Sophie Harvey for the 3rd spot in that heat. So the young Canadian freestyler getting in there in the backstroke, but again, really tight under the flag chair, and that's what this is all about here at the World Cup. Is you get the walls, you get a little more speed, and you get races like that. And so something to look forward to definitely for the final as we start collecting times here. 56.80 for the Canadian from LaSalle, Ontario, Moss, and then Nelson second, very close behind. And that sets up heat number 4 of 4. Sweden's Louise Hansen in the center of the pool here. Got Ingrid Wilm, another threatening Canadian, in 5. Danielle Hannes in 3. And underway with heat number 4. Hansen in the center of the pool. Your quickest entry in the competition, 55.20. Deep underwater for her as she surfaces right around 14 meters, so using some of that oxygen to get herself the lead at the halfway point of Heat 4. 27.34 for Hansen, 28.18 for Wilm, the Canadian, in lane number 5. Hansen took this thing out quick. Let's see if she can finish it. Big final wall here. And coming up, down the final length here for Hansen, the Swede, Wilm, trying to challenge to her left. Might make it close, but will not win. 57.01.
So close.
For Hansen, just 2/100th ahead. That's right, of Wilm in lane number 5 of Canada. So nice close finish there, but Hansen, the Swede, longtime national team member, deciding to take that thing out and just get her fingers on the wall to win the heat. Good finish from Wilm, though, as she was part of that 50 backstroke yesterday in Toronto, won bronze as part of the Canadian sweep of the podium. And so, she's got the speed, but demonstrating that she's got more of a finish in her in the 100.
And her style throughout that race was so relaxed, so in control. So we can imagine that she still has more to give. So we're going to see tonight how it goes. I'm expecting this to be probably the most exciting race tonight.
Toussaint, the fastest out of the heats at 56.58. Maggie McNeil of Canada, second fastest. But I think Toussaint made a statement in the morning here, what she has and may display in tonight's final. 8 through to the final of each event, and we're going to try to pick up another 8 swimmers here to do some Saturday night racing in the men's 50-meter breaststroke. 3 heats of this event. Andrius Sidlauskas of Lithuania is in lane number 4 of this one. Let's start with some quicker entries for this one, as there are only 3 heats. Canada's James Durgasov in 3.
We also see Finlay Knox in lane 0, who we just saw in the 200 IM.
That's right, might be a sleeper outside smoke candidate, but let's look in the center of the pool for Sidlauskas, who is the quickest entry and first to the wall, 12.25 at the turn. Knox over in 0, just a 10th behind him to take it out nice and quickly, but good cadence on the stroke rate here in the center of the pool. The Lithuanian has timed it 26.93 for the fastest swim in heat number 1. 27.22 for Canada's James Durgasov in lane 3, and then Gabe Mastro-Matteo, domestic swimmer from Canada, a very healthy 27.32 for him. He swam in Tokyo for Canada, swam in the 100 breaststroke, so it's not out of nowhere. And it is Lithuania's Sidlauskas with the win, though, getting under 27 seconds. I think nice for the home crowd here to see so many Canadian flags on the board, and they're going to see more here in heat number 2. As we have João Gomes Jr. from Brazil in 4. Worlds in 2021 won a bronze in this event. Anton McKee from Iceland is in lane number 5. He's a breaststroker who swum at Worlds Budapest in 2022, the 200 and the 100. Two lengths of the pool of the breaststroke. Definitely gives a nice form to this stroke. You see a lot more stroke rate, and this is Gomez launching himself to the wall. 12.04 in lane number 4 to establish himself as the early leader. Reese Whitley on the outside from the United States, though, is part of this as well, trying to command an outside smoke swim. If he can time it, we'll see 27 or 26 71, I should say, for João Gomes Jr. of Brazil in the center of the pool. Reese Whitley, 26.89 from the United States. A sleeper on the outside when it comes to the lanes, but we know what Whitley can do. He pops out and heads to the warm down tank after that 50. Trying to challenge for the win, but the Brazilian picking it up. Quick turnover for those guys. They're out of the pool pretty quick.
They still have plenty of energy left in the tank.
Right. That's right. Heading to the warm down tank to swim that one off. But Gomez Jr. 26.71 for the win in that one. Have established himself in the center with a really nice start. And that will set up heat number 3. Nick Fink of the United States is in lane number 4 of this one. He won the 100-meter breaststroke yesterday.
He also won the 50 last week in Berlin.
That's right. Yoshiki Yamanaka is in lane 5. Final heat of the men's 50-meter breaststroke. Fink in the center of the pool. Yamanaka in lane 5. Casper Corbeau of Netherlands is in lane 3, but it's 11.85 for Fink at the halfway point. Calm before the storm and the pullout. Here he comes, Fink. The leader at the halfway point, stroking down the pool. He's got a shoulder on everybody and will touch first. 26.15 for the American to win heat number 3. Corbeau getting his hands on the wall second, 26.55, and then 26.70 for Yamanaka in lane 3, but Fink establishing himself as one of the top times in that third heat. So 4/10 ahead. That was Fink over Corbeau. And overall, as you see the heat results for the third heat, and now the summary for the morning. So that heat being the fastest, 3 of the fastest 3 qualification times, Fink, Corbeau, Yamanaka, all going through 1, 2, 3 respectively to the final. So sometimes your heat just brings you along if you're in a faster one.
Oh, yeah.
You're not trying any harder or any less hard. You're just in a faster heat. Next up, the women's 50-meter butterfly. Ai Soma of Japan in the center. Kylie Moss of Canada in 3. Fresh. I said fresh, and then I got interrupted there. Not fresh, fresh out of the backstroke. Trying her hand at the butterfly here.
We know she can do it. We saw her swimming the butterfly in trials, in the Canadian trials in April, and she did pretty well.
That's right, and just getting some experience here, but it's Soma in the middle of the pool. Will touch first, 25.73. Linnea Mack was in this one from the United States, 26.05 for the second spot, but Soma wins heat number 1. And she's happy about that. Always good to win a race. That's why we do this thing. That was a pretty clear win for her as she reaches in, and you know, sometimes getting out in front, especially from the middle of the pool with some speed, gives the swimmer the confidence to get in there. That's a pretty good gap for her to win heat number 1 over the American Mac. And that will set up heat number 2 of the 50-meter butterfly. Missing swimmer from the center of the pool, Melanie Hennick of France, was not here yesterday, but you've got lanes 3 and 5. Katarzyna Wasik of Poland is in 3. Beryl Gastaldello of France is in 5. So with no Hennick, you've got the swimmers in 3 and 5 who are the fastest seeds. Wasik won the 50 freestyle yesterday. Gastaldello gold in the 100 IM. So a couple of champions, but it's Gastaldello, 11.82 at the 25-meter wall to take the lead and she's got 2 or 3 strokes left to try and win this heat, and she will, with a time of 25.61. So the swimmer from France managing to pick up the win in that heat. Washik was second, 25.91, ducking under the 26 barrier as well. And with no Hennique, they had some calm pool in the middle there. Swimmers having a lot of fun here. I think you can tell these World Cups, it's all about racing, and that was a very powerful effort from the French woman. So a 3/10 gap. Gastaldello over Washik. Larissa Rodriguez of Brazil third in that one. And we'll get the start list for heat number 3 of the 50-meter butterfly. Erica Brown of the United States is in 3. Holly Barrett from Australia is in lane number 4. Second in the 50 fly in Berlin, that was Barrett. And then, of course, the Canadian Maggie McNeil steps up for the butterfly. Won the 50 backstroke yesterday. Catherine Savard, another Canadian, is in lane 6. This is one of the quicker heats, naturally being third here. Off and into the water with a race to watch here, the 50-meter butterfly. This is the third heat. You've got Barrett in lane number 4 charging to the wall. McNeil, though, will try to get there early. But it's Barrett, 11.82 at the wall. Brown in 3, just 100th behind. Big kicks, though, from lane number 5's Maggie McNeil of Canada. She comes under the final 5 meters and will reach it with a time of 25.35 with a massive turn and a big finish for the young Canadian to win this third heat. And that was all Sarah in the turn as she got off that wall very quickly.
Oh yeah, this is where it all happens, and especially in butterfly, since they're doing butterfly kick underwater, that this is where they can get ahead most easily.
Just a massive swim from McNeil, and you know, she is not the tallest swimmer, of course.
She's so strong.
But she's so strong.
So fast.
And uses the explosiveness, particularly the underwater dolphin kick. And in swimming, it can be all about height to weight ratio, right, in the end. And she just gets there with some great athleticism and has turned in the fastest swim by almost 3/10, as you see her at the top there to the final. Gastaldello from France in the second spot. But again, it is wonderful to watch the different athletes and their abilities here, especially in the sprints, when you would think sort of body length and range would help. It does in some cases,
yeah.
But in other cases, that athleticism, that speed and power helps as well.
Sometimes you're just so good that you can make up for the lack of length.
That's right. That's true. Sometimes you're just too good to ignore, right, as they say. So the 100-meter freestyle, speaking of good, got some excellent swimmers in this one. 6 heats.
That should be another good one.
Coming up, Ovesh Purahu is in lane 4. In 5, Cale Murdoch. And in 3, Zachariah Boulajul. All club swimmers from Canada. So continuing with the sprints here, the 100 freestyle for men. Look out for Yuki Ikari of Japan, who's in lane 2. 8th in the 400-meter freestyle yesterday. Patrick Callan of the United States is in 6th, and he is establishing himself as the early leader. Callan silver at Junior Worlds in 2017. And he may be one of the Americans, of course, who who don't swim short course meters as often. Collegiately, they swim short course yards, and in general, short course yards versus short course meters. So they don't necessarily have the accurate times on the entry, and Callan proving that here as he was first in the 75 wall, and he is going to win heat number 1. No, out-touched by Yuki Ikari, who was challenging on the outside. And Ikari must have heard me and thought, no, I'm out-touching the American. 49.71 for Ikari with a great finish. Callan, who was leading at the 75, 49.72. So Ikari on the outside, Callan on the outside with the fastest times there. It's a great finish and great respect for the pool. Ikari as he leaves. That was a great touch for him as Callan was well in front, I think, 4 or 5 meters left to go, and then Ikari, though, just accelerating really well. And some swimmers have that special touch, right?
Oh, yeah. You just have to time it perfectly, and you can do great things like what we just saw.
That's right. Heat 2 of this 100-meter freestyle. Mainly domestic entries. Marcus Mack in the center of the pool. And into the water, the lone international entry is Guillermo Ruben Cruz Zuniga. He's in lane number 9. He was 22nd in the 50 freestyle, 18th in the 100 IM, 24th in the 100 fly. All of that is to say that he's got the ability to place. And he's going to turn in the lead here, 23.98 for the swimmer from Mexico with the good start. At the 75-meter turn, Cruz Zuniga hits the wall, 37.06. He's making a case for outside smoke. He's got a body length out of lane 9, and it is Mexico's Cruz Zuniga touching first, 50.17 to win heat number 2, 50.99 for Philip Weeks. Domestic entry from Canada for second. And then Logan Pack, 51.09, touching third in that one. But sometimes you get put in that outside lane as an international entry by virtue of the entry time. Whatever that means for him, he was like, I'm going to win this thing. Oh,
yeah, there was his time. So like, no, I don't belong in the outside lane.
That's right. That's right. A statement swim for Cruz Zuniga, who wins that heat by a good distance, but still over 50 seconds. Looking to see a swimmer in this third heat, or more of them anyway, to duck under, but we're going to have another heat of majority Canadian swimmers. Owen Ginn in the center of the pool. Swims for Lethbridge Swimming here in Canada, in southern Alberta. Mathieu Ionescu Tremblay is in 5, Mitchell Bro in 3. So a chance for the domestic Canadians to make their mark here at a World Cup. And in the center of the pool with some speed, the swimmer from Lethbridge, 10.96. It's a really nice start, and definitely one of those things where, hey, if I got lane 4, I'm going to prove it, as he gets toward the 50-meter wall and will turn 23.39 to get himself out to the lead. Now it's up to the rest of the field to see if they can catch him.
Look at the bottom of the screen, like lane 0 to 2 are challenging him.
Owen Ginn, 25 meters left to go, as 36.66 at the wall. Now the field will start to challenge slightly, especially if he's taking the lead heavy here, but reach for the wall, look to the finish, and it's Leo Pfaff from lane 2 who edges him with a time of 50.06. Some excellent swim, thumbs up to the coach. It's a good final 25. And that's Owen in the center of the pool, shown on your screen now. He led almost the entire race, and you know, he definitely approached that the way you would imagine a club swimmer would approach it. Say, hey, we're going to do this 125%.
Oh yeah, just
Why
go
not?
for
Why
it.
not?
Swim the race of your life right now.
But Leo Pfaff swimming a 50.06, 3/100ths faster at the end of the race there, picking up the win in heat number 3. And so that sets up heat number 4 as we turn to collection of more established world swimmers. Josh Liendo of Canada is in lane 4. Breno Correa is in 3 of Brazil, and his teammate Pedro Spajari is in 5. So underway with heat number 4. This will involve some of the faster entries in the competition. And it's Liendo in the center of the pool, who's close to the front, but Brooks Curry of the United States turning first, 10.64, with a really nice start for the American. He's going to be leader at the 50-meter wall as well, 22.33 for Curry. Establishing himself at the 25, then the 50, and he will continue to lead at the 75-meter mark. Got a tie between Liendo and Spajari with their toes on the wall at the 75-meter mark, but here comes Spajari trying to move on Curry in lane 6, but he cannot, as it is the American 47.05 at the wall to win the 4th heat. Spajari 47.48. And then 47.62 in the center of the pool for Josh Liendo of Canada. But Curry, there you go. Again, using that short course meter, maybe inexperience as an American, not doing it as much, to say, hey, I'll just swim this like I swim yards, which is flat out.
Oh yeah. Well, they have to in the 100 free, because they have such strong swimmers all the time. They're so close together. Like, if you're not going all out, you're not making it to the finals.
That's right. And a really strong swim by Curry, 47.05, about a half second in front of Spajari, the Brazilian. And here comes heat number 5. Justin Ress is in lane number 4 of the United States. Matthew Temple is in 3 from Australia. Thomas Chekon of Italy won the silver in the 100 IM yesterday, is in lane number 5. Heat 5 splashes into the pool here in Toronto. And you have Ress in the center of the pool, but turning first in lane 5, the Italian Chekon, 10.52 to take this thing out. Had the gold medal in the 100 IM in Berlin, came 5th in this event in Germany. And he's trying to establish a time early, 22.17 at the 50-meter wall, to be the leader. Big loping stroke into the 75-meter for the final turn, 34.53 at that wall as he charges over the final 10 meters, shutting it down though a little bit as he reaches in and still wins the 5th heat, 47.19 for Chekon. And I'm going to peer at him. How tired is he? It looks like he kind of just calmed down, didn't he? Knew he was in front.
He was just in control.
Looked like he relaxed into the finish, which is something that he had the ability to do given the lead that he had. Joshua Salkow, 47.29 from Germany. Second, Justin Ress, 47.42 of the United States, touching 3rd in that heat. So that's a fair strategy when you can imagine, hey, let's go out and see what I can do and see how you respond, and then maybe relax at the end, save some energy. Heat 6 here. Kyle Chalmers, the Australian, is in this one. Current world record holder in this event. That puts a target on your back, if anything.
No pressure.
Dylan Carter of Trinidad and Tobago is in lane number 5. And Gabriel Santos of Brazil is in lane 3. But it's Chalmers in the center of the pool, the guy to watch. Entry time 4:4.84, which is that world record. He's speedy, but being challenged in lane 3 by Santos, 22.56. First at the 50 wall. Chalmers, though, coming up, breathing to his right, sees his challenge. Will head toward the 75-meter wall, though this one is nice and close. There's 5 or 6 involved in this one. A dead tie at the wall, 35 flat between Santos and Chalmers. And Chalmers now of Australia using his prowess to get to the wall and touch first. 46.96 for the Australian world record holder. And he used that final wall well and the final length to his benefit to get in and win heat number 6. Nice control there from the Aussie. And so the Australian Olympian is going to hop out. Really created a nice lead for himself. A good distance on the rest of the field despite Santos kind of pacing the group early. Chalmers just under 47 seconds. Really good distance from Carter, who touched second, and then Santos was third. But again, that is the kind of pedigree that you get from a world record holder, to just be able to create that kind of opportunity for yourself, go in first to the finals. So the rest of the heat results being thrown up on the board there. And now we move on to the women's 100-meter breaststroke. Alia Atkinson holding the world record. And underway with our first heat here. We have just 4 of these and some Canadian club swimmers in this one. Blake Curry is in lane number 3, just 18 years old. In lane 4, Julie Nolan McCarthy. She swims for the Halifax Trojan Aquatic Club, 15 years old. And Yulia Toncheva, quite a bit older than these athletes, just turned 26. She's in lane number 5, but it's Julia Nolan McCarthy in the center of the pool, 33.03, to lead this one out.
For such a young swimmer, in lane 4, she's in the middle of the pool. She's at that age when you can swim personal best pretty much all the time. So she's making the most of her opportunity here to be the fastest, like to show that she deserves to be in the center lane.
And she is from Halifax, Nolan McCarthy, charging down the pool. 1 stroke left, touches 1:10.25 to win heat number 1. Yulia Toncheva, 1:10.94, touching second. And that will round out heat number 1. Definitely for some of these younger swimmers, talk about the opportunity. It's just that first chance to get a rep in. Curry, just 18 years old. And then Nolan McCarthy, just 15. Just to get a rep in a world-class environment. You have a different deck situation than you might have age group meets and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you have the call room and you have just how everything works, so you can gain some experience and know what's coming ahead if you keep on being so good.
And you can put some experience together, like Annie Laser of the United States, who's in lane number 4 here. So heat 2, including some big names. Laser in 4. She won the bronze in the 200 breast in Tokyo. Anna Eland of Germany is in lane number 5. Eland, a world's medalist. And then Kelsey Wog of Canada, another swimmer to watch in lane 3, as Wog won the bronze in the 200 breaststroke yesterday. But it is the German Eland who will touch first at the 50-meter wall, 30.64. and head back down the pool, carrying the lead. Good energy from the German as she approaches the final turn. Hits that wall with some energy. She's got a gap on this field of over a second into the final length.
I think there's something in that third wall this morning.
It's like a springboard or something as Elin uses it and gets to the wall. The race-long leader touches 104.54 to win heat number 2. Second spot goes to the American Laser, 106.32, and then Sophie Angus from Canada, 107.11 to round out the top 3. But yeah, I don't know what it is about that wall, but there is something to be said from what we've seen this morning, Sarah, with the confidence getting there with the lead. You usually keep it.
Oh yeah. Like we've seen some pretty incredible last 25s this morning. So there's something on the wall, in the air, in the water, everywhere.
It's happening for everybody too as we move along here to heat number 3. Anastasia Gorbenko from Israel is in the center of the pool. Ruta Meliutite in lane 5, the Olympic champion from 2012 in this event. Of course, that was long course. Christina Horska is in lane number 3. And it is Meliutite 13.80 at the 25-meter wall. She was just 4/100ths of a second off the world record in Berlin in the 50s. So demonstrating that speed here, 30.36 for the Lithuanian as she turns it over and heads back down the pool, and it will be on the rest of the field to try and catch her. And it is, again, Meliutite, 47.31 at the 75. She used that speed to get out there, and she's got about a body length on Gorbenko in 4. But it's Meliutite heading back down to the finish, and she's going to hit the wall and win, 104.74 for Ruta Meliutite of Lithuania. A very strong swim for her here in the 3rd heat. And a win certainly that was not in doubt throughout as she used that speed, Sarah, and then just carried it to the finish. Short course.
That last wall again.
And here comes a look underwater at just that power going into the wall and that turn. And again, we talk about that, just that clean water. And Sarah, I mean, it's just incredible to see that.
Oh yeah. We are seeing some very fine swimming this morning.
So heat 4, Lily King of the United States. Lydia Jacobi is in 5. King, as I mentioned, in 4. And so saw some speed just moments ago. We'll see some more here. This is 2 Americans try to post a time. Heat 4 of the women's 100 breaststroke in the water. Lily King, a 5-time Olympic medalist, won the 200 breaststroke. So we'll see what kind of speed she has here in the 100. Jacobi, meantime, a 2-time Olympic medalist in lane number 5, but King has the lead in 4. And throws herself at the 50-meter wall, 30.42. Jacobi 30.89 in pursuit out of lane 5, but visually here, it is all Lily King at the moment as she moves toward the 75-meter wall. So here comes that wall. Snaps the pull out. And up and back down the pool. King leading the way early here, but Jacobi on the outside trying to threaten. Jacobi smoothly trying to move toward her teammate, but in the end it will be Lily King, 104.62. Just 8/100ths ahead of Lydia Jacobi in lane number 5. So King taking that one out really nice and quick, right?
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful race, beautifully swum. The technique was very controlled, very consistent. Just by the way she swims, you can see how experienced she is.
And that was Jacoby at the end there, really smoothly trying to get to the wall. Sarah, like, unbelievable finish. And it was very close.
If she had made her move like a couple of meters ahead, a couple of meters earlier, maybe she could have done it. But yeah, it was very close, but not quite.
Really a tale of two strategies there, as Elin, you can see the top seed going into the final. 4 swimmers at 104. Elin, King, Jacoby, Melutite. That's a list that if you blinked and didn't necessarily think that could be the final at Worlds, could be a really top final.
It's going to be a good one.
And that is the kind of ability that we have here at the World Cup. Not in all events, but in many events, that is definitely kind of skill that we have. We got some of it here in the men's 200-meter butterfly, which is next. We power through the morning.
Only 2 events left already. This is going by so fast.
That's right, the men's 200-meter butterfly. We have a heat of the women's 1,500-meter freestyle, so don't speak too soon, Sarah. We've got a mile coming up.
But I love the mile, so I'm fine with that.
I know you do. You're excited. You're excited for it.
I'm probably the only person excited for that this morning, but I am.
You and maybe the parents of the swimmers swimming the 1,500. Definitely not the athletes. But we have the 200 butterfly first, and it's Trenton Julian of the United States in lane number 4. Bronze in the 100 fly yesterday. Andrei Demov, 6th in the 400 free, so nice distance ability in lane number 5. There he is. Mexico's Hector Rubalcaba is in lane number 3. 200 fly heat 1. Okay, 200-meter butterfly, 8 lengths of the pool. 2 arms, launch yourself out of the water, and 200 fly, all about the rhythm. All about the sprint, though, as it still is a 200.
This one is a hard one to pace, because in butterfly, if you start too slow, it's really hard to pick up the pace later on the race. But if you start too fast, you're just going to die in the middle of the race, and you won't be able to finish. So it's a very hard one to master.
And certainly fading in a 200-meter butterfly has its consequences. Trenton Julian trying to avoid that here, 39.70 in lane number 4. Good number of dolphin kicks, surfacing at around 10. And here he goes toward the 100-meter wall. Swimmers trying to get away in the first 100 nice and easy, right, Sarah? Just kind of calmly get out into the lead.
And you just go with a nice, smooth technique in the first 100, then try to pick up the pace with whatever you have left in the tank for the second 100.
54.13 at the 100-meter wall for Julian. Picked up a couple of relay medals at the World Championships in Budapest. Part of the U.S. team, turns 123.33. Even being on a relay for the United States of America, one of swimming's powerhouses, is impressive.
Oh yeah. He also won the bronze medal yesterday in the 100 fly.
And so he's going to use that speed. And then, as he demonstrated, try to finish it. So he's got 5 meters left to go. Julian from the United States is coming in to win heat number 1, 153.10.
Solid swim.
Yeah, very even effort there for the American. Almost looked like he was going the same speed for 8 lengths.
Oh yeah, he looked like still so smooth, even in the last 25, which is the moment when you see the swimmer starts tightening up and slowing down, but he was still going strong.
little shrug there. Okay, I'll take that morning swim. Hector Ruvalcaba of Mexico second, 153.98, and then Andrei Gemov, the Czech athlete, 154.42 to touch third, all a good distance from the rest of the field. But Julian, the quality of it there in heat number 1, which sets up heat number 2. Chad Leclos, back-to-back World Cup champion in the 100-meter butterfly. Of course, in Berlin and here in Toronto, is in lane number 4. Jose Martinez of Mexico in lane 5, and Hubert Kos of Hungary is in lane number 3. This is heat number 2. Look for Leclos to use his pedigree in this event, try to win this heat. So the South African Leclos in the middle of the pool.
I
Gets
feel like
himself into the water. Sorry, Sarah.
he's one of those swimmers he's been on the world stage for such a long time. I feel like even if you don't know anything about swimming, you still know who Chad Leclos is. Turned
30 years old this year, which is remarkable because if you're a fan of swimming, you remember Leclos and his battles with Phelps and 25.77 at the 50 wall, and just how interesting he was for swimming, right? With looking side to side, his gamesmanship in races. And now he's entering his 30s and still swimming at an incredible pace.
And still doing incredible in butterfly in his 30s. Like this is a hard event.
Martinez, though, is challenging him to the halfway point. 55.82 for the Mexican, so you've got 3 swimmers at the center. Hubert Kos is in the mix as well, just over 56 at the halfway point. South Africa's Leclos, this is where he likes to be, in the middle of a race. He's just touched first there by a few hundredths of a second.
This is where the experience might come in the last 50.
Breathing every stroke. 50 meters left to go for Leclos, 126 flat, so.
Look at that turn. That was a good turn underwater.
Big energy here as Leclos starts to build his stroke rate. He may have saved something in the tank here, 144.4 for Leclos. Really good distance off that final wall. Pursued by the Mexican Martinez, but it will be Chad Leclos of South Africa finishing first, 154.53.
Nice touch too from Leclos.
That's right, a routine morning swim for Chad Leclos. And you can see he was just feeling out the field, which he often does.
He barely
what everybody
looks
has.
out of breath.
That's right, Martinez, 155.40. Second, and then Kos, 156.75 to finish third. So Leclos time the quickest in heat number 2. And I think it's interesting how he races. I'm sure he's driven a number of coaches nuts over the years, but it works for him. He just needs to get himself a lane tonight, and that's what he did. So heat number 3 is up next. May see a bit of a better race. We've seen teammates going up against each other before. This is Alberto Rossetti, who was 10th in the 100 IM yesterday, but this is one of his better races. Federico Berdisso from Italy is in 3. Final heat of the men's 200-meter butterfly. Off and into the water here in the 200 butterfly. 2 teammates in the center of the pool. 11.38 at the turn for Wang in 5. See how this race develops, I think it may end up being a better one. As we get to the 50-meter wall, 25:44 for Matheus Gonch from Brazil in lane number 6. So nice little rangy start for the Brazilian. Federico Burdisso from Italy is in lane 3 as he's moving well as well. So a few lead changes in this first 100 meters. And it is 54.18 for Burdisso from Italy. Kind of establish himself as the leader now. This is the third 50, and this is where you really find out what you've got in this 200.
Oh yeah, this is where if you started too fast, you're starting to slow down, and if you started too slow, you realize you made a mistake.
That is correct. And it looks like Burdisso in lane number 3 is failing slightly, and you've got the rest of the field catching up, including Wang in 5 and Rossetti, the other Italian, in 4 as they head down to the final 50 meters. And it's a hard charge to the final turn here. You've got Wang, who started with a bit of the lead, and he is certainly powering through this final 25 meters. Wang Quanhong heading to the wall and will win 1:53.59 the time. And a really nice organized race for him. Alberto Rossetti in 4 from Italy in the second spot, and then 1:56.04 Gonch over in 6. So I think it's possible that all the swimmers had a hand anyway in the lead there.
Oh yeah.
From start to finish.
It kept changing.
At least the top 4 athletes there. But Trenton Julian will end up, as you see the results of Heat 3 there, Trenton Julian will still remain the top seed. Going into the final, there it is now. So again, you've got to wonder, I liked Julian's race in the morning here, and you could definitely be confident if you were his coach going into the final, just how he swam that race, I think. But Leclos, of course, just gets himself a lane as well.
Oh yeah.
And we'll see what he's got going on there going into the final, as you just need a lane, as they say. As Brittany McLean, of course, on the evening call says, just got to get yourself a lane, and then anything can happen at night. And we have one more race before we close out the morning session, the 1,500-meter freestyle for women. Again, this is, as you said, Sarah, time final, which means this can factor into tonight, but there will be a faster heat tonight as well. Alexia Pham Spickler is in lane number 4. Emma Guglielmello, Puerto Rico, in 5. Roxana Ramirez in 3. Spoke too soon, as 5 missing. That's Guglielmello, so it'll be a bunch of club swimmers from Canada, and then an international entry. Gabriela Dohi is representing Lebanon, and she is in lane number 8, and you could imagine that there might be a charge from her. Dohi, 29th in the 200 freestyle in Tokyo, so she's an Olympian. 19th in the 400-meter freestyle yesterday here in Toronto. And so she'll look to set the pace, you can imagine. But again, the 1,500-meter freestyle, it's the longest event in swimming. And it's certainly, when you talk about lead changes,
a lot can happen.
A lot can happen. And the strategy is quite simple. I mean, as you talk to coaches, you swam distance events, like I can imagine just building throughout and setting a pace early that you're trying to move from, right?
Yeah, I know that when I swam it, I saw it as 3 500s, and I would build up. So first one, you start not easy, but in control and smooth and like a comfortable pace. And then in the second 500, you pick up the pace a little bit, and then in the last one, you just give everything you have left. And you can try to build up within that last 500 too. So that usually gives you a pretty even pace throughout the race, because even if you try to pick up the speed during the later stages of the race, well, you're tired, so obviously you won't go as fast as in the beginning. So yeah, when you build up, it gives you a nice, even, consistent pace, and sometimes you can realize in the last 100, 200 that you still have more energy than you thought left in the tank, and maybe you should have gone faster.
Yeah.
But you don't know before you reach the end, because if you start going fast too early in the race, you won't be able to finish. So it's simple, but it's also not that easy to be able to pace yourself. Probably it takes a couple of tries before you get it right.
Sometimes the simplest things are difficult, and the most difficult things can just be solved simply, right?
It's easy on paper.
That's right.
Then you jump in the pool, and at like 1,200 meters, you're like, oh, that hurts. Why did I do this to myself?
But Dohi still in the lead, 2:47.15 from Lebanon, leading the way here. This race is so long that the officials come to the bulkhead, and as you can see, they put a number in front of the athlete to tell them this is how many lengths that you have left.
Oh yeah, at the end, you don't have enough brain cells like functioning to count your length. So you end up not knowing where you are, what you're doing. You just keep swimming, and when you see that number 1 at the end, you're like, oh, finally, I'm done.
Alexia Pham Spickler representing Camo team in Montreal. She is in lane 4, chasing the Lebanese swimmer right now. Pham Spickler at Canadian juniors and seniors, 7th in the 800 freestyle, and then 5th in the 1500 meter freestyle. So she has some national ranked experience here in Canada.
And we have a couple of very good distance swimmers in Canada. So ranking 5th at nationals, it's a solid ranking. So you know that she knows what she's doing.
Meantime, Roxana Ramirez is in lane number 3. She's 3rd right now at the 375 meter wall. Those two Canadian club swimmers now chasing Dohi. But Ramirez, University of Wyoming senior, she's from Mississauga. She's majoring in international studies. One of those athletes who used her swimming ability to catapult herself into a collegiate career, get herself a degree. Most of the time that involves a scholarship, which is definitely one way to use sport to sort of balance yourself out and influence the rest of your life.
Right. They work so hard in the pool. If they can get something out of it outside the pool, go for it.
And so 3 swimmers, Lebanon's Dohi in 8, still first at the 450 wall, 5:07.14, but you have a bit of a 2-swimmer battle going on here between Ramirez and Pham Spickler, and in 3 and 4 respectively. And Sarah, what kind of impact can that have on the outcome of this race? Because you've got the Lebanese swimmer over in 8. She can see them, but she's not really racing anybody. Mm-hmm. And then you've got 2 swimmers next to each other, kind of pacing each other in a way.
I've had both, and my best races were when I had someone right next to me to help me keep the pace, because when you're on your own, it's so easy to lose the pace, and you slow down and you don't even realize it because you're so far ahead of everyone else or so far behind, depending. You just don't realize how much slower you're going. But when you have someone right next to you challenging you, it really helps. So in this case, we have Dohi, as you said, like she's on her own at the end of the pool, but she can see them, so it helps, but it's not the same as it's right next to you.
And she has responded here. At the previous start, and Pham Spickler had the lead, but now it's the Lebanese athlete still in front. That's Dohi ahead. She's led for most of this race, is being challenged by the club swimmers in the middle of the pool, but she's clearly seen them, and now you can see from her kick and her stroke rate that she is starting to pull the pace a little bit. Just when you have a threat, it seems, Sarah, you just try to reject it in a way. Say, hey, you're not going to hang with me, and mental impacts of that, the mental impacts of that, I should say, must be immense if you expel so much energy to get to the front and then someone just pulls away.
Oh yeah, you have different strategies, and for swimmers who are more experienced, when they see those younger swimmers coming up, they're like, oh no, that is not happening, I'm going for it. But then you have the one chasing them who are like, well, I can do this, I want to do this, so they really go for it. And we might see them slow down a little bit if they started too fast, but so far they're looking very good. We're still not even halfway through the race, so still so many things can happen, but they're looking good. And I think having that international entry in the pool with them is for the club swimmer is very motivating, and seeing that they can challenge her, it's definitely going to push them and motivate them to make sure that they get even better. And next time, if they can't do it today, they want to make sure that next time they can do it.
Gabriela Dohi in 8 has turned first at the 700-meter wall. She continues to lead. And then it's Roxana Ramirez turning just ahead of Alexia Pham Spickler, both club swimmers from Canada. This is the women's 1,500-meter freestyle. The morning heat. There will be another tonight with the faster entries from the field. And this has been a bit of a cat and mouse affair here, because Dohi of Lebanon in 8 has pulled away, and then she's been caught and then pulled away, and it remains relatively close as the swimmers turning at the 775 wall, just separated by a handful of tenths now. And now the University of Wyoming senior Ramirez in 3 is trying to slough off Pham Spickler from Camo and move into the lead, and she will indeed at the 800-meter mark. 9:11:37 for Ramirez. So, Sarah, you talked about this. This is the middle 500 here for these swimmers. This is where you start to turn up the pace.
Yeah, this is when this is where you want to start really building up. Make sure that you use everything you have left in your tank. So this is where you start doing it, because if you wait until the very last 100 or 200 of the race, it's too late. So yeah, you can see, as you said, Ramirez pulling ahead. So she's making a move here. We're gonna see if she can keep it up, but she's still looking good, in control.
She is indeed. Took over the lead about 100 meters ago, and that was a very specific move for her. You can tell as she definitely increased her power and stroke rate to try to pull ahead and create a mental deficit for the rest of the field. She'll turn first, 10:20:31 at the 900-meter mark. So 600 meters left to go, and 900 of 1,500 seems like a lot, but we've still got a long way to go here, over a third of the race. But this is a very strong move by the club swimmer from Canada. Not so much of a response from Pham Spickler in lane number 4, but Gabriela Dohi in 8, trying to just keep her in her grasp, right? That's what you have to do, is just try and have a chance, at least mentally, to find your way to chase somebody down. I mean, pace, if someone has set a pace that is far beyond you, there's not much you can do, but at the same time in swimming, you can dig deep and just try grab a few tenths on every 50, right?
Oh yeah, you can surprise yourself in these races. And if you let the lead get too far ahead, it's going to be very hard to catch up in the end, unless the lead starts slowing down significantly. But if the race is well done, she won't slow down.
So there's Ramirez, 11:29.52 at the 1,000-meter mark. So she moves from the second 500 to the third 500, Sarah, and we'll see what she can do. Is a freestyler at the University of Wyoming. She's been there since 2019. Definitely started to swim well. Would swim yards there, right, in the United States. So these are some different distances, including the 1650 freestyle and the 1,000 free. Three-time medalist at Canadian Junior Nationals in the 8 and 1500. So she's been on the scene, that is the distance scene, for quite a while in Canada. Just turned 22 years of age this year. She's definitely using this opportunity to establish herself. She's put some distance between, or some pool between her feet and Dohi's hands as she turns 12:38.79 at the 1,100-meter wall. Now it's time to just count down the laps as 400 is left, and it definitely, I think at this point you can tell the athletes, they go towards single digits on those big flip boards that the officials are using. It's something that I think you can imagine at this point, Sarah, brings you some motivation. You're almost done.
You're so excited to be almost done at this point. And this is often where you see the swimmers pick up the pace because, as you just said, they can see the finish line, so they get very excited, but they still have to make sure that they don't go too fast because they still have another 400 left to do.
That's right. And it is club swimmer Roxana Ramirez of Canada in the lead at the moment. Lydia James Brennan over in lane 6 has overtaken Fam Spickler, who, if you remember, was hanging with Ramirez for some time in this race. And she's fallen behind. She's from Montreal. But James Brennan trying to move into the third spot. It remains Gabriela Dohi of Lebanon turning second at the 1,200-meter mark. But it is Roxana Ramirez remaining in the lead with that really strong middle 500. And there was a clear point in the race where she decided, I'm going after this, and really took this race away from the rest of the field. And as she heads toward the 12:50 mark,
it looks like she made her move at just the right moment. So the other swimmers were starting to get a little tired, so they weren't able to follow her. And yeah, she's still looking great.
She is indeed, as the meters count down. Just 9 lengths of the pool left, and
so close to the end.
It's interesting. Sarah, did you ever look at those flip boards when you were swimming?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you did?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Sometimes I would, instead of breathing to the side, I would breathe like, I would lift my head up and look up front to make sure I would see the boards. But sometimes, well, in, I would say, smaller meets, it's instead of the officials holding the boards, it's often a teammate. And
right.
Sometimes they lower it into the water, so you can just see it when you flip. So this is very helpful when they can do it. But yeah, if not, if the official is not looking, or like if they don't hold the board on the right side, on the side where you're breathing, you don't always see it. So yeah, and at this point, as I said earlier, your brain is not there anymore. You're just go through the motion. You just keep going until you hear the bell, basically, because in the last 50, they're going to hear a bell. So, and when you hear the bell, you're like, oh, yeah, this is ending at some point. I'm not stuck here forever.
Roxana Ramirez counting the numbers down here. She's looking good in lane number 3. She heads toward the 1,400-meter turn. So she's got 100 meters left to go, and she turns at 16:06.81. Comfortably in the lead over Gabriela Dohi of Lebanon, 16:10.82. She led early, the Lebanese swimmer did, but it was Ramirez taking over the lead in the middle third of this swim. She's got 3 lengths left to go, and now it's all about emptying the tank.
And she's also lapping Jacqueline Chambers in lane 1. That is also always very motivating when you see, okay, not only I'm the first one, but I'm catching up with the last one. So that's a pretty good self-esteem boost.
That's right. Motivating or perhaps demotivating for the swimmer who's getting lapped more possible in a short course pool, right, than long course.
But you're trying to stay positive here, so let's think about the winner's point of view.
I like that. I like that point of view. And we've got a look at Roxana Ramirez in lane 3 from Mississauga, just down the road here in Canada. She goes into the final 5 meters and very cleanly manages to win her 1,500 meter freestyle, 7:15.75.
Good job.
And of note, Dogi there from Lebanon, just crushing the final few hundred meters, trying to catch her. But 17:17.12 for the Lebanese swimmer, unable to do that. But Ramirez, well-earned round of applause from the crowd here, because that was a really well-swum 1,500. Paced it well at the beginning and then gutsy at the end to get herself to the wall first.
And she kept it going even though she was by herself in the end. So very hard to do, very good job.
So that rounds out the 1,500 meter freestyle heat from this morning. Again, there will be one tonight, but Ramirez, what an effort for her. Truly went through that race and was unafraid of the stage, and even having an international entry in Dohi ahead of her throughout it, just swam her race and then took it away. And also like a level of confidence, no doubt, when you're in there to be able to be part of that race and just swim your own race. No, it doesn't matter where someone is from or what international experience they may have. I'm here to swim my race, and she did that.
Oh yeah, just do what you gotta do.
So that rounds out the morning session here at the FINA Swimming World Cup in Toronto. But just to recap, an incredible morning that we had here. Lots of great racing once again. Katie Ledecky showing up again. She always tends to be the star and headlining the event, any event that she is in. But we will see a lot of great swimming tonight. But we can talk a little bit about Ledecky. I feel like we talk about her a lot. Chad Leclos, of course, in the men's 200 fly. I'm interested to see kind of what he has coming up.
Oh yeah, that should be a good one. Like, he has so much experience, and the way he swam this morning, you know, he can do faster than that, even though it was already a pretty fast race. So yeah, I'm excited, and he showed us by winning the medals last week and last night that he's in great shape. So he is here to fight.
That's right.
And doing a great job at it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic morning. You talk about Leclos, talk about Ledecky. Madison Wilson had the fastest swim in the morning, the 200 free. You know, Ledecky will have something to say about that. The 200 fly, Trenton Julian is the fastest seed out of the morning, but talk about Leclos going in 6th. He likes to be there. That's fine. That's fine for him. He can win a race from anywhere, but he will be challenged. There is no doubt. Maggie McNeil, the Canadian, the very fast Canadian, who will definitely challenge in the butterfly. Kyle Chalmers. I mean, how do we get 4 events on the recap down to Kyle Chalmers, the world record holder in the 100 freestyle?
It just shows
ability.
like how great this meet is going, that we almost forgot about Kyle Chalmers. But how could we forget him?
And we will be reminded, of course, of the fast swimming that we have. It will be coming up for you tonight as the local time here in Toronto go on air around 5:50. Make sure you tune in wherever you're watching from for the finals of night 2. Rob Snook and Brittany McLean will have that call for you. My name is Callum Ng for Sarah Mayotte. Thank you for watching. This has been Day 2, the morning session of the FINA Swimming World Cup.